Good morning. What's going on, y'all? I'm Angelica with In God's Timing. You all have to bear with me. I am using this new streaming, whatever this thing is. I had somebody set up on my computer and I'm not used to it, so I'm learning how to maneuver and work it. So bear with me as I go through this video. I'm going to share some notes that I have that I'm led to talk about that I took maybe a few days ago. So different things that the Lord been dealing with me about. But we're in a time of release right now. So a lot of things that are taking place as they accelerate, it's a lot that's going on, right? In Ecclesiastes 3, it talks about it's nothing new under the sun. So many of the things that are taking place and that are happening, it's not new. Okay, it's not new. God has been preparing us for different things. He has been giving us different wake up calls. Different things that have taken place, especially in the recent years that we may have ignored, but to each his own. By choice. So some of the things I'm going to talk about is basically translating what's taking place now and what is to come. So I'm going to just gradually go through my notes, just how they came to me. And I hope everyone is doing well today. I hope this is recording right, y'all. I tell folk, look, this is different. Some folk got a lot of time on their hands. This is very technical. When you're doing this live streaming stuff and trying to set stuff up and all that editing, I'm going to learn as I go and continue on because it's time consuming. It's a lot. Okay. So, that's one of the transparent things that I say with me when I do these videos or different things that I do, especially doing something different, doing things that's uncomfortable, not normal as far as what you're used to doing. Ooh, it can make you have to take a breath for a second. But anywho, let me keep going. So as I was saying, some of the things that came to me was destruction, catastrophe, and restoration. And with catastrophe, that's basically like a sudden damage, different things taking place, happening quickly. We've been seeing that happening across the board these past few years. And now, with the seasons changing and different things, some may seem as if, it's okay, everything's calming down. Don't be confused by what you see, thinking everything is all right. Don't take your grace period for granted. Don't take time for granted, as far as getting yourself together, working on yourself or whatever. So God is restoring the family, biblical marriage, right? The church, God's people. Many are called, but few are chosen. So we're seeing different people that are coming up or sprouting up that God has been using to speak the word, to do whatever their assignment is as far as educating people, helping people, allowing people to see the Christ-like light shining through them. It's not by coincidence you're seeing this happening right now. Then you have a lot of mess out there too at the same time. God is wanting us to forgive. Let folk go. Like I said, it's a time of release, releasing people, releasing bitterness, offense, certain people that have hurt you, those things of the heart, regret, we can't change certain things. At the end of the day, remembering that we can dwell on stuff all we want, but it's not going to change anything. So we have to get to a place of what am I going to do to help change whatever it is, whether it's something with your kids, your life, whatever it is, you have to make an effort to help the change. So God has graced us with time and the opportunity to get it together. You'll hear people even saying, is God mad at us or what's going on? He's not happy. So I said a lot of people talk about the blessings and different things as far as the church and the body of Christ, but they don't really talk about his wrath, that he has a side where he can get angry. He's been getting us together and warning us. He warns us for a reason. He warns us beforehand so we can prepare on different levels, even mentally, spiritually, emotionally, naturally, getting stuff in order. So as things begin to unfold, we're not extremely taken back because we already were kind of warned beforehand that things were getting ready to go down or things were getting ready to take place. He warns his people too so we can move out of the way, so we don't get caught up in the crossfire. So we don't get to a place where, if he's judging the nations or judging, America or different things that's taking place, if you in the way and you entangled in sin, you got things going on in your heart, it's a possibility that you can get affected too. or get caught in the crossfire. And we have to be mindful of that, not taking for granted that he has been giving us time and opportunity. And just because it seems like things have calmed down, don't let that be something that gets you sidetracked. So he's been given time and opportunity for God's people to get our hearts right with him, to get right with other people. Like I said, letting certain things go, certain things from your past, to a certain extent, because he is a judge of all judges. Okay, he's got everything in his hands. He's gonna take care of it. He's been given the wicked time and opportunity to right their wrongs. We know of many people, they not gonna change. You can't make anybody change. You can't make anybody do anything. So at the end of the day, it's best to sometimes just love people from a distance, pray for them, ask God to spare their souls. And even with it just being a time of release, you got blessings or curses, you choose. So when I talk about, some people will say that, the blessings is the blessings that, but they don't mention a lot of times it's conditional, that you don't just automatically get, like the world will give you things just based on your performance or things like that. No, you have to have a relationship with God. You have to have lifestyle changes, really seeking him, and but not taking for granted that it's a possibility that if you don't listen, you may not be able to have that experience. So even in all chaos and different things that take place, God will still keep his people. But at the same time, you have to pay attention. So a time of release of death, loss, these are things we've already been seeing, right? God's wrath, I said, on the nations, including the USA. I put, he said, let my people go. We know with this system that we're in and a lot of things that are taking place, it has been strongholds, it has been struggles. But I guess maybe for some people, if you haven't ever been through anything or really had any challenges or been affected by, the racism or stuff on the job or family to the extent how some of us have, then you wouldn't even understand. Because if I would think for me that folk will be more alarmed, it's alarming. Let me say it like this. It's alarming that people are so comfortable again. So we so easily get numb by the things that take place, right? For a moment, we talk about it, this is happening, but then we go right back to the same stuff. Many people, right? Not everybody. Feeling as if you have time, that I can just do what I want to do and there's no consequences. And that's the biggest lie, to think that you don't have consequences for your actions. And thinking about too, you have kids. If you have family, things don't just affect you, it affects the people that are around you. So bondage, like I said, those strongholds, those set strategic plans to keep us from growing, from prospering, God's people. We've been scattered due to all of the four corners, the certain things that I've been hearing over and over again. So nothing is by coincidence. God is preparing us for a reason. God's chosen and his called, his kingdom builders. We're builders, right? We're disciples. You have different officers. He's using us as models and examples of the Christ-like light, right? We're the light of the world, showing our vulnerability that we need him. He wants honor and respect, and he's going to have it. True worship, for his word is straightforward, just the basics, straightforward, God. Okay, so all this, bickering and arguing, or folk want to do all these other different things, but still not taking consideration that God has been speaking to us about getting it together. So he would show the world that he is God, proving himself. We don't have to prove ourselves to anybody, but God will prove himself through his people, through the things that take place. And we don't think about too, when things happen, like I said, God's wrath side is real. Okay, all kind of folk end up losing their life, or all kind of things happening. This is why I say guarding your heart and moving out the way, because at the end of the day, when God has given us opportunity, for those that even take for granted how you treat people, you got to be mindful how you treat people. All of those things, you reap what you sow, it comes back. And now, because we are in acceleration phase where things are happening quickly, right? So many people feel like they still can treat people any kind of way. This is why he even tells his children, be mindful how we treat people. Love. I'm not saying you let people run all over you, but treat people right. Let your release stuff, right? So we got bondage and slavery, enslavement, by law and mastery. So you might say a lot of that's been taking place by just manipulation. Okay, telling us what we want to hear. Like I said, we've gotten so numb where so many different things that are so perverted. Stuff has went so far where we feel like it's an upward momentum where people are just stagnant. I guess like waiting for something to happen, waiting till things just occur. We've been dealt with wisely, and a lot of people, I guess, because of fear, fear of losing their houses, fear of losing their cars, or fear of so many different things of man and of people versus fear in God's wrath, fearing what he can do. Because at the end of the day, he is the author and the finisher of our faith. He writes this narrative. The enemy can't do anything that God doesn't allow. God is just and fair. This is why he gives us free will and he gives us a choice and opportunity. Okay, knowing that we will serve him in spirit and in truth. Um, So a lot of things have been man-made, like polluted or contaminated or altered. They're not pure anymore. Like you think about if you go to like a man-made lake or a man-made beach or something, you can tell the difference between fresh water and water that folk been all in, and just it's toxic, right? You can see it just looks different too. It feels different. So a lot of things, they're not even authentic anymore. You look at so many different things that have been perverted and prostituted and altered just to accommodate the people. So we end up in agreement with so many different things just so we can be comfortable. So you rather be comfortable than safe. So I look at it like this. Jesus, the one who saves, right? God sees behind the scenes. So this is why it's such a push and a press for him, warning his people to get your mind right. You can't do what everybody else does and get away with it. My people are out here going too far, going, same stuff, with the serving the idols, idolizing everything else, putting everything else before God. And he said that nothing, no man, nothing will be before him. But that steadily we keep seeing happening. So because God sees behind the scene and he sees what the wicked are striving to do or getting ready to try and do, like I said, God will allow some things to happen to use it to get our attention. Many spiritual senses have become dull and they've accepted perversion. So, we'll accept things in part. I accept this part because I'm in that lifestyle. But then when it goes too far and we see the perverted stuff with the kids being added in, or, different things with Disney Channel and all these different things, nobody really wants to speak about those things. So that means you end up comfortable. That means you at a point where well, I'm not going to say anything. This affects everybody. So yes, it's important to speak up and say things because many are talking about the businesses and the bags and getting all the money and all these different things are fine about what you want. And that's why I mentioned earlier about blessings and curses, but it's conditional. So we want to flourish. We want to be prosperous and all these different things, but won't even take the time out for God. Won't even really give real relationship. We feel like, oh, because God knows my heart, I can do this over here and I can live how I want to live. And because he know I love him and because I go to church on Sundays, it's all good. It doesn't work like that. Changes have to be made. So because he knows that we're a rebellious generation, because he already knows that the wicked are not going to listen, these are things that God already knows. This is why he allows things to take place, to show and prove. Showtime. To show you. People tell you I can show you better than I can tell you. Wicked and sin are at a level of maturity and now at a time to be addressed by the Most High. So basically what I was already saying, how sin, wickedness, perversion, a lot of these things are just on high extreme levels. Just the level of disrespect, no regard, the selfishness, the pride, everything. A lot of those things are at an all-time high. But I can say that God's been keeping and sustaining his people or people around me. Many of you can probably say the same thing, that despite everything that's been going on, he's been keeping you. Many can't say that right now. So how dare, I'm going to say myself, take for granted how he's been keeping me, even though it's been a little challenging, like I said, stepping out, doing new things and, him stretching me. It's a little uncomfortable, but it's worth it. What do you have to lose? We're in a world that is so much going on. Like I said, many people are, I guess, waiting to see what's coming next. God has been giving us invitation or warning. You know, like I said, straightforward, waiting to see what's happening, wait to see what's next. That's what it seems like a lot of people are doing. You're waiting to see what's going to take place next. So in 2019, that was 400 years, right? We in 2022. So that's not even full 3 years after 2019. So when I first started out at that time and I began doing the videos and stuff, um, it was like a birthing process. That was the first initial video that I did. It was like I felt like a travailing in my spirit, like I could no longer hold it anymore. He was already pushing me to start, start doing the videos, start moving, look, walking by faith, walking on water, doing things that I never saw myself doing, and just trusting him throughout the process because it was necessary. It was a need. He wasn't looking for my perfection. He wasn't looking for this dazzle bedazzle thing, because things grow along the way. But that's what he's been doing with many people. He wants us to just step out, trust him. He's got us. He's going to work everything out. He has the divine connection. Sometimes we worry too much about what people say, what they're going to think, how it looks, which is irrelevant sometimes to even the situation and the times that we're in. God is preparing his army. It's go time. It has been, like I said, it's certain things that take place for a reason. So a lot of things have been an illusion, like a false idea, hallucination, like the enemy paints this facade or this picture like everything's just perfect and, everything's going back to normal and everything's going to be okay. But then over here, you got war and you got all these different laws being passed and all this chaos and confusion. But many people, as far as ordinary people, still going about as if nothing is happening or nothing is taking place. So like I said, it's like that waiting game, waiting to see what happens next instead of preparing, instead of taking serious, okay, you know what, we've seen this before, we recognize this, let's be aware, let's be productive, okay? Building relationships with people. Those delusions, faulty belief, contradiction that's inconsistent with the truth. So basically, because you want it to be true so bad that everything's gonna go back to normal. Those are those strong delusions. Like this is just like it's a movie. This is not real. This is not really happening. We're gonna be okay. That's when the wake up calls come. So I was hearing pestilence, plagues, and famine. Things we already seen. Things that are already taking place. That's why I said with Ecclesiastes 3, it's nothing new under the sun. This past Sunday, I had a table talk session, one of my first panels, right? With guest speakers or whatever at a location. And it was an experience. Like I say, God is stretching me and having me do different things. And that's why I say it's different when you have a lot of people that they used to doing stuff and they want to do it. It's not. It's uncomfortable, but you know what? It's worth it. So God is pushing us to dare to be different as believers. We are a part of the change. Things are not going to just change on their own. God has been waiting on us. We waiting on God and he's been waiting on us, but it's only but so much time that he gives us and the time and opportunity to get it together. Okay. Like I said, releasing folk, your heart, working on yourself across the board. Okay. Across the board, but he has to prove himself. So when he's been speaking just over the past few years, but even more so recently, we may have missed it and didn't acknowledge it about his wrath. God not playing with folk. But then too, to know that we serve a God that loves his children, that he sees and hears our cries, us being oppressed, the bondage, the strongholds, the different things that are taking place. That's the part that blesses me. That in his timing, all things really do work together for the good of those that love the Lord. So hold on to your faith. Okay. Don't give up. It is a lot. It's not easy. But that's why he allows us to be examples and role models in our assignments and really helping people. That was one of the biggest things we talked about yesterday, how not having the resources or how we so many times we tear each other down or we don't try to uplift each other, but we talk about each other, right? You got a lot of that happens with women. The side eye, competing with family. It's time out for all of that. This isn't the time for that. Because when pressure hits, that's when you actually get to see who really is about that life or as far as survival, anybody. So as I said, not taking the things for granted that's taking place and taking place quickly. Like I said, I get nervous. I tell people all the time, I have to be transparent. I told God when He pushed me out, I have to be myself. Learning as you go. Like I said, even me just using this new streaming network, sometimes being able to learn, you have to trust the process. Let me say that. Everything's not going to come easy. It's a blessing to be able to have people that specialize in different areas to get help. Having that opportunity to have those type of people, because a lot of times now a lot of people are so stuck in their mindsets where they don't want to help anybody. But this is why God gives divine connections. This is why He's shifting some things around for the people that He's using, because He's been warning us all. He's been warning the church, He's been warning the leaders, He's been warning the people, He's been warning the wicked. They know. The wicked people in the land and the world, they know. This is why stuff is going and happening so quickly, because they're trying to prevent or push so many things on us so they can hold it back. But at the end of the day, like I said, God is in control. So hold on to your faith. Keeping Him first. Don't allow the distractions. Hot girl summer, because it's about to get warm outside. Don't let that fool you. Okay? Continue to keep Him first and pray. So I love you all. Be blessed. This is Angelica with In God's Timing. I'm working on this editing, so this one's going to send raw and uncut just like it is, okay? So y'all be blessed. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all soon.